Now, all my life, I think we in Britain have been in awe of Americans, economically, culturally and politically. I always remember going to the States for the first time in the early 70s and being amazed by how rich even ordinary people seemed to be. There were big highways, big houses, big cars, even big fridges. The US was the centre of popular culture in terms of movies, television and even music. And politically, the US seemed so sophisticated and exciting. In short, Americans had a world-beating confidence and swagger, which through film and television and trips to the moon, intimidated the rest of the world. This led citizens of the United States to believe that everyone wanted to be an American. And it turned their presidents into something like royalty.
I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt,
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office
of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
Tomorrow, all that finally comes to an end, when a man who, in my opinion, is a racist, misogynist, pathological liar who doesn't even recognise when he's not telling the truth, becomes the 45th President of the United States. The oath of allegiance is no longer God bless America. It's now God save America.
Greg, you know I agree with you. I agree with your characterisation of Trump as a misogynist, racist, pathological liar, and it is worrying. And I have been on the Trumpocalypse wave of depression along with everybody else. This is a country that's been spiralling out of control, in my view, for a while. And even though Trump is bad news, I completely agree.
Yep.
I don't think he is the definitive end in the way that you've described it.
No, what I'm talking about is image, really, I suppose. That if you were of my generation, I mean, you believed America because of, largely, I suspect, because of movies and television and the rest of it, but you believed America was something special. It was something, it was very sexy. And when you went, you were surprised by just how affluent it was then. Now, actually, I don't think it is today when you go and compare it with Europe today. We've caught up, but back 40 years ago, it wasn't like that. So I do think there's always been this sort of image. Why did the British media cover American politics so intimately, where they don't cover French politics or German politics in anything like the same way?
Do you think Trump cares about global greatness? I don't think he does. I think he cares about America and its people. And I think, and if he delivers to middle America what he promised, which was employment and jobs and to tackle immigration, he will be the greatest president of them ever. You know, and he says he will tackle jobs. Take a look at this.
I said that I will be the greatest jobs producer that God ever created. And I mean that. I'm going to work very hard on that.
Yeah, we've been talking about Obama. You know, how great a president was he? Actually, yes, he looked the part, he sounded the part, but in truth, he was a very mediocre president. You touched on it before. We said in Syria, you know, his role in Syria, it was a red line for him. The Syrians bombing the insurgents. He said he would go in. He didn't. He left Iraq. He left a void in Iraq when he pulled out to fulfil an election pledge and created chaos there. So how great a president was he? He looks good.
Sure, but I'm not getting into defending Obama. All I'm saying is the thing about Obama is he did look good. To the world, yes, he looks like an intelligent, thoughtful, interesting man.
But he wasn't a great president.
All the things that Trump isn't.
Yeah.
And I think America is as shocked about electing Trump as the rest of the world will be. But I do think if he carries on as he is at the moment, and why keep picking fights with all sorts of people that you don't?
Because that's
why
his style.
Pick a fight with Mrs.
Because he doesn't look at politics like politicians do. He looks at it like a businessman.
This is, I mean, you've all made good points. Let's not post-mortem Obama. You know, Trump is going to be inaugurated on Friday. You say he's going to create jobs. Yeah, he's created a huge number of jobs for the Trump family so far as I can tell, and a number of billionaires. But looking at it geopolitically rather than culturally, Greg, he's bear-baiting China. He wants to see the collapse of Europe. He's putting America first. He wants to make America great again. Just at a time when we need Europe to be solid and we need the transatlantic alliance to persist in order for the West not to
I think...
fall prey to Putin's imperial ambitions.
Right, well, let's
Go
just
on,
get
Nick.
a few things straight
Oh,
here.
yeah.
You know the facts.
Greg Dyke with your gutter tabloid journalism. We just make some corrections here. During the campaign, Trump responded to allegations he was a racist, saying he disavows any groups or individuals associated with a message of hate. As regards being a misogynist, he apologised for that video.
Welcomed his
and he says,
presidency.
anyone who knows me knows those words do not reflect who I am. So we've got that out.
Well, I apologise
Your
for
problem
the
is...
video was...
Your problem is... Let's move that. Your problem is simple, summed up in one word, democracy. You don't like the fact that by a perfectly accepted democratic system, America, US has gone for the bloke you did not like. Get over it. Your bloke lost, he won, move on. I'm delighted. I am going to watch that inauguration, probably with a mixture of laughter and excitement, because I think the world... But all we need is your brother in number 10, Trump at the White House, and Putin, and my God, I'll never be out of work.
Like
it would be
It's nice for
fantastic.
you, Nick. It's a bit dangerous for the rest of the
Why?
planet.
But don't you think it's good that he's actually dumped all protocol? He's dumped
That's
all
fantastic.
norms. We don't know what's coming. And
No,
in a
it's
way,
not
that's
good
for the rest of the world.
But he's actually ruling by tweet, and he's releasing things
But look
by
what he did
tweet
by
in the
tweet.
middle of the
No,
night.
it's good.
There
Look
is
what he
no
did by tweet.
accountability if he
brought
does
two-
not face the press.
He
Carol.
brought two huge companies back to America that were going to go to Mexico, and the jobs would have left America. He's brought them back, and goodness knows how many more he'll bring
That
back.
hideous, sanctimonious White House press corps who think that they are God's gift to journalism. By God, they're in for a tough time, and I will...
By the way, when I
just
was in
fake
Washington, they
news.
wouldn't let my husband
Whilst
in the
you're
press.
celebrating the departure from protocol, let's look at the protocols he's departed from. Anti-nepotism, as you pointed out, Rachel. He's been appointing his son-in-law to negotiate the Middle East peace deal. These are not tokenistic roles.
see
These
how
are
he does.
major,
but look at
roles.
the other people he's employed. Look at the other people he's employed. He's employed... He looks at politics like a
than any
business.
other.
So he has employed the best deal makers in America to make deals.
The safest pair of hands in his new
diplomats.
administration is called Mad
Mad
Dog.
Dog.
James
I think that's quite
Dog
Mad, yeah.
Mattis.
But hang on, you say he's looking at it as a businessman. I don't think he's at all.
He is. It's a completely transactional president. If they do right by him, he'll do right by them. That's what he's saying.
But I don't know any or very few businessmen who behave like Trump. I just don't. That's not the way business is done in almost anywhere. And I think somehow it's not about business. It's about, as I've said many times here before, he's the barroom bore. He's the man who's got an opinion on everything and thinks. And sadly, we've now made him the president. Or we didn't, but the American people. A minority of the American people have made him...
But it's middle America that have voted him in. The very people who've been ignored by all the previous presidents.
And those are the people he's going to
elite.
disappoint. He's not going to open the coal mines of West Virginia,
No,
Carol,
he's not.
is he? And he's promised them he is. And also, he's managed, in the course of only a few weeks, to insult Angela Merkel.
Good.
Yes.
Absolutely, that's another vote for him. Fantastic.
He's triggered Putin into claiming that Russian prostitutes are the best
Even
in the
funnier.
world.
It's sensational.
It's great copy, Nick, but it's scary living.
Just to respond to what you are accusing Greg of saying, which is that he doesn't believe in American democracy. To defend Greg, what I think you're saying is, yes, the American people voted for Trump. OK, not by an overall majority, but whatever. We respect the Electoral College. They voted for him, fine. I accept that and respect it.
I'm very grateful.
But
I'm sure America now sleep quietly in its bed.
No, because like Rachel said, the people who voted for him hoping that this is going to turn around their prospects, their prosperity, are going to be disappointed because you don't succeed by isolating all your potential allies and trade partners, by insulting people on Twitter.
He hasn't even taken the job on yet.
Like, all right, we can watch the car crash in slow motion. In fact, we're going to be forced to. And just from a cultural perspective, I mean, I think, Greg, I'm from a different generation to you. I came of age politically when George W. Bush was in the White House.
Yeah.
How is George Bush, by the way, anyone?
He looks a liberal these days, doesn't he?
Well,
George
Bush Senior's just been taken to hospital, hasn't he? But George W. Bush Jr., I mean, at the time, seemed like a complete basket case, So it's not the first time that we've seen a president who has implications for the global perception of America's
also
greatness.
Ronald Reagan. Do you remember when Ronald Reagan was elected? His own party didn't want him to be president. There was huge opposition. And they said he's a movie star who can't do anything. And look what he did.